Geographical regions of India. The natural resources of a country are of primary importance for the economic development. The physical factors like soils, geologic formation, and the availability of flora and fauna are factors affecting settlements, density, and occurrence of mineral in the different part of the country. Talking about Indian landmass, India lies entirely in the northern hemisphere. It is one of the central and the largest of three irregular peninsulas of South Asia, and it possesses a highly favorable position for purpose of international trade. As you can see on your screen, it measures approx 3200 km from north to south and 2900 km from east to west. The coastline of India is about 6100 km long. From the map we can see that Tropic of Cancer divides India into two unequal halves, the northern half lying in the temperate zone and the southern half lying in the torrid zone. While India accounts for 17.7% of the world population, it has only 2.4% share in the land surface of the world. You can understand it better by looking on the map. In the terms of geographical areas, India ranks 7th among the countries of the world after Russia, USA, Canada, China, Brazil, and Australia in that order. The geographical area of India is 328.7 million square hectare. This large size of India carries a few advantages. First, in a country of so large dimension, a variety of mineral resources are found. Secondly, the large size is associated with a variety of climates which leads to the variety of crops, etc. Of the total land area of 328.7 million hectare, about 10.7% lies in mountain. In these mountainous areas, nearly 95% of the land is unsuitable for agriculture. Hilly tracts comprises of 61 million hectares or 18.6% of all land in India. Plateau measures 27% of all land in India. Plain, the majority. Plains cover almost 43% of the total land in India. These plains are distributed all over the countries and are the most suitable lands for cultivation. However, some plains are also unsuitable for cultivation. For example, the Rann of Kutch and the desert of western Rajasthan. The land of India displays great physical variation. Geologically, the Peninsular Plateau constitute one of the ancient land masses on the Earth's surfaces. It is supposed to be one of the most stable land blocks. The Himalayas and the northern plains are the most recent landform. The mainland India comprises of 5 regions. First, the Great Mountain Zone of Himalayas. Second, the Northern Plain. Third, the Southern Plateau. Fourth, the Indian Desert. Fifth, the Coastal Plain. First, we'll look at the Great Mountain Zone of Himalayas. The Himalaya runs for about 2400 km from the northwest Pamir Knot to the border of Assam in the east. The total area it covers is about 5 lakh square kilometers. The two mountains, Mount Everest and Mount Kanchenjunga, which are the first and third highest mountain above sea level, lies in this range. These mountain ranges run in a east-west direction from Indus to Brahmaputra. As you can see this, and as you can see on this map. They form an arc which covers a distance of about 2400 km, whose width varies from 400 km in Kashmir to 150 km in Arunachal Pradesh. As you can see on your screen, the northernmost range of Himalayas is known as Great or Inner Himalayas, or also known as the Himadri. The range lying to the south of the Himadri form the most rugged mountain system and is known as Himachal or Lesser Himalayas. This range consists the famous valley of Kashmir and the Kagra Kullu Valley in Himachal Pradesh. This region is also known for its hill station. The outermost range of Himalayas is known as Shivalikas. These ranges are composed of unconsolidated sediments brought down by rivers from the main Himalaya range. The whole mountain system of Himalaya represent a very youthful topography with high peaks, deep valley and fast flowing rivers. The northern plains are formed of alluvial deposit brought down by the rivers of Himalayas. Yeah, here is the area of alluvial deposit. The Brahmaputra marks the easternmost boundary of Himalaya. Beyond the Dhihang Gorge, the Himalaya bent sharply to the south and spread along the eastern boundary of India. They are known as Purvanchal or Eastern Hills and Mountains. Now we'll look at the northern plain. The northern plain is also known as Indo-Gangetic Plain. It has been formed by the interplay of three major river systems. This plain is mostly formed of alluvial soil. The deposition of alluvium in the vast basin from the Himalaya over millions of years formed this plain. It spread over an area of 7 lakh square kilometer. This plain is about 2400 km long and 240 to 320 km broad. As I have already told you, the northern plain has been formed by the interplay of the three major river systems. As you can see on your screen, the three river systems are the Indus, the Ganga and the Brahmaputra, along with their tributaries. With a rich soil cover combined with adequate water supply and favorable climate, it is agriculturally a very productive part of India. The northern plain is broadly divided into three sections. The western part of the northern plain is referred as Punjab Plains. It is formed by the Indus and its tributaries, for example the Jhelum and the Chenab. The larger part of this plain lies in Pakistan. As you can see on your screen, the second section is known as Ganges Plain. It is spread over the states of North India, Haryana, Delhi, UP, Jharkhand and West Bengal to its east. The third plain, which is known as the Brahmaputra Plain, lies in the state of Assam. We have covered now the northern plain and the Himalayas. Now we'll look for the southern plateau. The southern plateau are also known as the peninsular plateau. This plateau is composed of mainly igneous and metamorphic rocks. This is an elevated plateau separated from the Indo-Gangetic Plain by Vindhya and Satpura ranges. It was formed due to the breaking and drifting of the Gondwana land, and thus it is the part of the oldest landmass. This plateau consists of two broad divisions, namely the Central Highlands and the Deccan Plateau. The part of Peninsular Plateau lying to the north of Narmada River, as shown in the map, is known as Central Highland. The westward extension of this plateau merges with the sandy and rocky desert of Rajasthan, and the eastward extension of this plateau marks the Chota Nagpur Plateau as marked in the map. The Deccan. Now we'll talk about the Deccan Plateau. The Deccan Plateau, as you can see on map, is a triangular landmass that lies south to the river Narmada. It is higher in the west and slopes gently toward eastward. The Western Ghats and the Eastern Ghats marks the western and eastern edges of the Deccan Plateau respectively. The Western Ghat lie parallel to the western coast, whereas the Eastern Ghat lies parallel to the eastern coast. Mahendragiri, which is 1500 meter tall, is the highest peak in the Eastern Ghats. Sharwoi Hills and the Javadi Hills are located to the southeast of the Eastern Ghats. Here you can also see the famous hill station of Utai and Kodaikanal marked on the map. The river of the peninsula are rain-fed and hence they dry up during the summer. Their courses are of little use for irrigation, hence irrigation is practiced by tanks and reservoirs mostly. Now we'll look at the Indian desert. The western part of the Great Plain of India consists of the Thar or the Great Indian Desert, which covers western Rajasthan. The desert is about 650 miles long and 250 to 300 km wide. The total area of this desert is about 1.7 lakh square kilometer. About two-thirds of the Indian desert lies in Rajasthan, west of Aravalli Range, as you can see on the map, and the remaining one third lies in the neighboring state of Haryana, Punjab, and the Gujarat. It is the world's 17th largest desert. This desert area experiences below 150 mm per year rainfall, which is very low. It has arid climate with low vegetation cover. As shown in the map, Luni is the only largest river in this region. This desert is strategically important as it forms a natural border between India and Pakistan in the west. An interesting fact, the first nuclear weapon test was carried out by India in Thar Desert. Specific location is Pokhran on 18th May 1974. Now, this is Rann of Kutch of Gujarat. Now we'll talk about the coastal plain. The coastal plain of India are settled on the Arabian Sea coast within the west and on the Bay of Bengal coast within the east. According to their location to the east or west peninsula, they are called East Coastal Plain and West Coastal Plain. The western coast, as you can see on the map, is sandwiched between the Western Ghats and the Arabian Sea. And it spreads from Gujarat to Kanyakumari. It goes from north to south and it goes on narrowing. It is about 1200 km long and 10 to 80 km wide. The plain is majorly divided into two parts, the northern and the southern part. The northern part from Gujarat to Goa is known as Konkan Plain. As shown in the map, it is 530 km long, while the southern Malabar Plain, 550 km long, extend from Goa to the Kanyakumari. Now the eastern plain. The eastern plain extends from Kanyakumari to the Krishna and Godavari deltas for 1100 kilometers. The average width of these eastern plains is 120 kilometers. As you can see, the Chilika Lake is marked on the map. It is the largest saltwater lake in India and it is an important feature along the eastern coasts. Till now we have covered India's large mainland, but besides this, the country has two groups of islands. We have reached the final part of our presentation. Okay, so the India has group of two islands, one in the Arabian Sea and other in the Bay of Bengal. First, we'll look at Lakshadweep Islands. This group of islands is lying close to the Malabar coast of Kerala. It is composed of small coral islands. Earlier, they were known as Laccadives, Minicoy, and Amindive, but after 1973, they were named as Lakshadweep. They cover a small area of 32 square kilometers, but these islands have great diversity of flora and fauna. It has a tropical climate with an average temperature of 27 degree to 32 degrees Celsius. The climate of Lakshadweep remains pleasant and humid warm. The hottest month of Lakshadweep are April and May, and the preferable time to visit these islands of Lakshadweep is in October and March. Is between October and March. This is a picture of Bangaram Island from Lakshadweep. Second, we have Andaman and Nicobar Island. They are bigger in size and are more numerous and scattered as compared to Lakshadweep Island. The entire group of islands is divided into two broad categories, the Andaman in the north and the Nicobar in the south. Port Blair is the capital of this union territory. It is believed that these islands are an elevated portion of submarine mountains. Submarine mountains are underwater mountains and only their upper part is visible because it's above water. These islands group are of great importance for the country. North Sentinel Island in Nicobar is home to one of the most isolated Paleolithic tribes of the world. There is a picture of North Sentinel Island on your screen. There is great diversity of flora and fauna in these group of islands too. These islands lie close to the equator and experience equatorial climate and has thick forest cover. This island is also famous for its cellular jail. That concludes my presentation. Thank you for attention. I sincerely appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you.